Hello and welcome to Wednesdays with Annette. Today we're talking about budget meals for good health, because being healthy doesn't have to be expensive. Gosh, with all that's going on in our world today, now more than ever, we need to be careful with what we spend our money on. Now, it's also a time to be focusing on being as healthy as you can. So today's topic is an important one, because as a nation, we spend far too much money on food that ends up getting thrown in the bin. Did you know the government estimates food waste costs the Australian economy $20 million each year? They say over 5 million tonnes of food ends up as landfill. That's enough to fill 9,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools, and 1 in 5 shopping bags end up in the bin. That equals $3,800 worth of groceries per household each year. So today, I've got lots of tips, so grab your pen and paper so you can take notes. It's going to be good. Now, I remember back a few years ago when I had a small but really deep pantry cupboard. When we were moving, I emptied the pantry and found that I had 20 cans of crushed tomatoes. Yes, 20. So my first tip is to tidy up the pantry and your fridge and your freezer. Now, start with your pantry first and give it a quick tidy up. Throw out any food that's out of date. You'll be surprised what you'll find. And put everything in some sort of logical order. Put all the cans together, put the breakfast stuff together, and so on. Then do the same with your fridge and freezer. Now, it's such a revelation when you can actually see what you have. And so writing your grocery list will be so much easier, and you won't end up with 20 cans of tomatoes. Number 2 is make a list of what you have. For example, go to your freezer, make a list of what you have in there, pin this to your freezer door and cross things off as you use them. And this way, you know what leftovers you have on hand for nights when you don't feel like cooking. I often do a week of freezer dinners and use up those leftover meals. Number 3 is write your menu for the week. Now, I do this every week. Every week, I've done it for years. Let me show you this week's board. I got this little thing from Kmart, if you're wondering. So this is our week. Now, when you look at it, I've got ripper rissoles, oriental pork, zucchini slice, Mexican chicken bake, because I'm making that on the show tomorrow. This was my week. Freezer, I'm not cooking Friday night. Fish and Malay salad, and the baked dinner on Sunday. So what this means to me is either Bill or I can do the shopping because we know what we need ahead, and I don't have to go in the kitchen at 6 o'clock and panic. You know what I mean? It's all organised. So start by referring back to the list you wrote and see what can be made using the ingredients you already have on hand. Knowing what you're making for the week means you can shop ahead, like I said, cook ahead, and it means less food waste. Now, number 4, you don't have to have meat every night. What about a vegetarian meal once a week? Look, my vegetarian lasagna from Book 1 gets rave reviews, and don't forget about eggs. They're a great source of protein. Why not whip up an omelette using leftover veggies? Oh my gosh, who doesn't love an omelette? Number 5 is write your shopping list. Now, try to shop only once a week, and the more often you go to the shops, you really will spend more money, so once a week. And if your budget's tight, work out which foods are a priority and which foods can be left off the list. For example, do you really need juice when you can drink water? And when you're in the supermarket, only buy what's on your list. Don't be tempted to add other things to the trolley. Number 6, don't throw it out. Freeze any leftover portions of meals, but make sure when you're freezing it, write the recipe name and the date frozen on the lid so there's no unexpected surprises when you defrost it. Gosh, I've been there and done that. The other thing you can do is check your fruit bowl regularly, and if you've got some overripe bananas, make a banana cake or freeze for a banana smoothie at another time. Other fruit can be stewed or used as a dessert, like using sad apples for the apple crumble recipe I made yesterday on Tuesdays with Annette. Yum! Using lackluster veggies in a soup or a casserole is another great way. And stale bread can be used in maybe a bread and butter pudding, or make your own breadcrumbs. Super easy to do. So now let's delve more into the topic of leftovers. I love leftovers. So let's start with what to do with leftover roast meat. Number one, you could chop the meat up finely and make it into fritters. Add an egg, some finely chopped onion, and a bit of plain flour to hold it together. Yeah, yum. Now number two, with it, you could chop the cooked meat or chicken, for example, and make either a curry or add a can of soup and some frozen veggies for a really quick, easy dinner. The third tip on that one is use leftover meats on your sandwiches and rolls for lunches. Waste not, want not. Now, leftover baked vegetables, oh, this is a great idea. I love it. Cut into large chunks and add to salad for a roasted vegetable salad. Love it. What about leftover barbecue meat? Now, one tip there is to slice the steak really thin and make steak sandwiches. The other one, and this was Diane's suggestion, is make my pitti panna from book 5. This is her favourite. Diane raves over it, and it's a great way to use up leftover steak. So check that recipe, it's in book 5. What about you've got some leftover mashed potato? Don't be throwing it out, people, because you can use this to make salmon rissoles. So what you do with that is you add a can of really well-drained salmon, some sliced shallots, a little bit of lemon juice, pan fry until brown on both sides. Boom, dinner is done. I mean, leftover vegetables. Let's not forget those little bit of this and little bit of that. You can accumulate it over a few days and then you can make bubble and squeak. Oh my gosh, I loved this as a kid. It was so yum. Now, saute the vegetables in a large pan that's been coated with cooking spray until heated. It's a great thing to have as a side dish, you know, if you don't want to have it as a meal. Let's talk about barbecue chicken. If you've got some of that left over, you can make it into a wet dish by making maybe a curry, or mix the chicken with a sachet of soup mix, add some veggies, onion, a little bit of dried tarragon is so good with chicken, add some rice pasta, boom, dinner again. Don't throw out those little bits of leftovers, you know, that little bit of bolognese or that little bit of curry or the casserole, because they can be used as an awesome lunch. You know, put it over jacket potato the next day or on toast, or my favourite is in a jaffle. Great for an easy lunch or dinner. Now let's look at some ways to avoid wasting food that you've spent your good money on. I mean, we don't want to be throwing it out, remember? So lackluster celery, you know, your really limp celery, carrots or lettuce, don't be throwing it out. Try this first. Pour some cold water into the sink, add a whole chunk of ice cubes, and then soak the veggies in this for a little while, and this should actually crisp them up nicely. Try it before you throw it out. The other one is to stretch a casserole or wet dish like bolognese. What our grandmothers used to do was add bread slices to the mix so it went further. Worth a try. A great way to save dollars is to buy when food is on sale or especially in season. And this way you get them at a better price. For example, when meat is cheap, buy in bulk and freeze up to about 3 months. It'll work, so why not? At the end of the day, the supermarkets will often drop prices on bread, roast chickens and other perishables. So if you can, why not go later in the day and grab these bargains? Now, a roast chicken, you could grab that at the end of the day. Take all the meat off and the skin, throw it into a zip bag, you know, the Ziploc bag, chuck it in the freezer, and you've got it ready for when you want to make either chicken in a hurry from book 1 or curry in a hurry from book 5. If there's only 1 or 2 of you at home, then using my Cooking for 1 or 2 cookbook is another great way to reduce food waste, because you will use less ingredients for those smaller meals, and this way you don't have too many leftover meals in the freezer. What happens if you find your milk has soured? Well, you think, well, I'll just chuck that out. Well, hello, make a batch of pikelets with it, as this works really well. Now, normally with a pikelet recipe, you add vinegar because you want to sour the milk. Hello, it's already done. Use your soured milk instead. Now, I use a lot of egg whites in my recipes. I'm sure you know that. So if you don't like wasting the yolk, I have a suggestion for you. Why not buy the carton of egg whites? Now, this is a great way to have egg whites. Now, if you're thinking, well, how do I work out what is an egg white? Easy. For a recipe of mine, when you use 1 egg white, it's 36 grams. So if, for example, it says 2 egg whites, that would be 36 times 2, 72. Got it? And that's how you weigh it. All right, now, my final tip. Oh gosh, I'm a big fan of baked beans because it can really make a budget meal. You can add so much to baked beans to make it go further, and you can serve it on toast or over potato as well. You know, gosh, I love Bean Surprise in Book 2. If you haven't made it, you're missing out. And don't forget, in Book 1, I've got a whole load of ways with stuffed taties. Yeah, I've got you covered. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? All right, so now I hope those tips have helped you, but of course we have to have a prize today. Yes, 6 lucky people. Let me repeat that. 6 lucky people will win Book 1 because it has lots of easy, budget-friendly recipes such as the basic bolognese, and in that you can actually make chili con carne or beef Italian. It's all in Book 1, and oh my gosh, if you haven't had it before, you should try my zucchini slice, lasagna. Oh my gosh, I could just go on forever. This is such an awesome book. So if you want to win it, all you have to do is like, share. Now get ready for this because this is different, and in the comments, I want you to tag a friend who you think would like to win this book. Now if I pick you, both you and your friend will each win a personally signed copy of Book 1. How good is that? So don't forget to tune in for tomorrow's show, Thursdays with Annette. I'll be back here again, but I'll have my apron on, and I'm making a really good budget meal, Mexican chicken bake from Book 6. And can I tell you, oh my gosh, I want to do a drum roll, but it's the prize for tomorrow is huge because it's my birthday tomorrow. I know, 21. So I'm feeling very generous. So what's going to happen? 3 lucky winners will each win the full set of my cookbooks 1 to 7. I know, it's all about giving tomorrow. So tune in for the awesome show I'm going to do tomorrow. Now, next Wednesday is actually going to be my last Wednesday with Annette, and I will be talking about ways to help you focus on health and, more importantly, weight loss. So don't forget to join me for the last show next week. And of course, if you need any more tips or recipes, hello, simply2good.com.au. So thanks for joining me today. I hope this has given you lots of budget busting ideas. And remember, waste not, want not. See you tomorrow.